Welcome to my channel, my name is Marlies and today we're going to make this fully packed envelope shaped ephemera holder. My starting point is an A5 size piece of craft colored paper. I made 3 rectangle sized pockets for on top and I'm going to stitch along all sides and also in between those lines in the middle. And here is a close-up of the stitching after I am done. Time to dive into your stash and find some nice pieces of ephemera that will fit inside of these pockets. All 3 pockets have a different size and not every ephemera will fit very nicely. So yeah, do not be afraid to get your piece of ephemera out and cut it into the right size so it will fit. You can think about, like I'm using here, tags, little pieces of a label maybe, those bingo cards, some tickets, just some little note cards for the recipient so they can use it for notes or pictures. Yeah, just be creative and dive into your stash. So this is the first process that I am doing. I want to see which layer goes on top of another layer. I am looking for words that I would like to see, maybe some numbers, or when you have like a little butterfly or bird on your piece of ephemera. So it's all about placement. Play around and try some things out. I made this fully packed envelope shaped ephemera holder for Cori. You can check out her channel. Her name is Cori, Creating with Scraps. And I already made Cori a journal and a tag. And it is really nice when you make something for somebody else to wrap it in a nice kind of way instead of just putting all those pieces of ephemera like in a plastic bag. So this is what I came up with, just for also for your eyes. It is like attractive and it is cool and it is lovely to look at. On top of the pockets that are already there, I would like to create a craft colored pocket for some little pieces of ephemera. And I'm just inking up this strip of paper with the Distress Ink Vintage Photo. I'm just wetting it down a little bit because I would like to create some staining by dabbing and pushing the paper into the wet ink. And of course, make sure that your paper is dry for the next step. I will repeat the same steps on this larger, wider piece of craft colored paper just to get the same look, and it is matching all over. I will dry the strip before adding the next layer. I got out some Holtz design tape just to make a rough edge on the bottom of those strips. So I'm not going to glue it down in whole. I'm going to tear the tape for a rough edge. My next step is to add here some more interest in the background on the top of these strips. I got out my mini glitch stamp set from Holtz and I'm using the grid kind of stamp. It is one of my favorite and it worked very well for some texture in the background. Then you are able to glue those strips down. I am going to apply some Distress Collage medium on both sides, left and right, and on the bottom part, so it will be a pocket. After gluing down this strip of paper, I want it to be and stay flat, So many times I will use some clips to hold it down or use some little weights on top of it. For the second strip, I'm going to do the same. I will add some glue, the left and the right side and the bottom part, and I will glue it on the spot that I like. While those glued down pockets are drying on the sides, I will have my hands free to work on the ephemera. The ephemera I would like to be a little bit more aged and worn, so I got out my Distress Ink Vintage Photo and rubbed this brown color along all sides of my ephemera pieces. And I would also like to create some staining. I will do that with the same ink color, and I will dab the ink pad onto my craft sheet, wet it down with a little bit of water. I want to break up the color and create some drops. And then, just pick up your ephemera and slightly and gentle push your ephemera pieces into the wet ink. After inking and staining, you can dry the ephemera pieces with your heat tool. Sometimes they buckle a little bit, but then I will put them into a thick book to get them flat again. Once I have a nice layout of my pocket and the embellishments, I will take a picture with my cell phone just to remember myself where the best place for every piece is before getting it all out and forgetting about that. And then you can go ahead and ink up all the other pieces of paper that will go inside of that pocket. I have quite the amount of ephemera pieces in this holder, so some steps will be repeatedly, and it will take a little bit more time for you. But yeah, that is when you want a cohesive and matching look. These steps will belong to the process. While my pieces of ephemera are in a large and thick book so I can flatten them out, I have time to work on the middle pocket. I have cut out these letters with a Tim Holtz and Sizzix Thinlits die set 664728. And of course I would like to roughen and age them up a little bit. I am using the same craft colored strip of paper as I used before. Same process, some ink along the edges, some staining on top, and when I have some drops of ink left, I will also push in my white letters to get some staining on top of there too. I want the all-over look to be the same, so also for this strip of paper I got out my stamp set from Tim Holtz, the Mini Glitch, and I am stamping with the grid stamp and the Distress Vintage Photo ink. I am inking up just a small portion of the stamp. I do not want the whole background to be covered, just some spots here and there in a random way. Next thing that I'm going to do is to glue down the letters. I have placed them onto the strip of paper in the right order and in the right place. And I'm just picking them up one by one, gluing them down just to be sure that they are still in the right place. Now that we have the black outline, it is time to fill those outlines up with the white letters. I have already put them in the right order in front of me, and I'm going to add them one by one. Do not forget we also have our last step, and that is to put in the inlay for the E's, the P and the A. Yeah, just to make those letters whole again. I got out two Tim Holtz mini paper dolls for the side of this word, and I think the position of the dolls are very cute because this boy has his hand sticking out and leaning on the A, and this one is leaning on the E, and I think it looks great. My ephemera pieces are flat again, so I took them out of the book, and it is time to fill up the upper pocket. As a focal point for this pocket in the middle, I chose this group of ladies sitting down. Just glue them partially on the bottom part of the strip of paper. Besides adding the ladies, I'm also going to add some little pieces of ephemera to decorate this pocket. And do not forget your little details like this tiny attacher, this little staple. It will add to your work. What we did for the upper pocket, I'm going to repeat on the bottom pocket. So I'm going to fill up the pockets with my ephemera, and I will also add a focal point in a similar way as the upper pocket, just to make it all matching. On this bottom pocket, I saw a quite clear area in the background, so you can see a lot of craft color. I did not like that, so I got out an extra piece of ephemera, and I'm going to fill up that spot with this flower piece. Of course, I want it to look the same, so I got some ink out, did a little bit of staining and some brown ink on the edges for an overall matching look. This strip of paper with the word ephemera will not be a pocket, so I'm going to glue the whole piece down. So make sure to cover the whole piece, including the paper dolls, with a layer of glue. After gluing down this piece, I took a photo of this middle section of the ephemera holder just to make sure where I can place all my pieces of ephemera. And yeah, so I will not forget and have a resource to go back to. In this video, I already showed you 2 times how I did my inking and staining on the ephemera pieces, so I will give you in this next piece of video a speed up version and also some music. Those pieces of ephemera are in a thick book to flatten them out, so I will have some time to work on the bottom pocket of this ephemera holder. I would like to decorate it a little bit more and add some little details, so I have some stamped numbers and some little labels that I will glue on top of the pocket just to create some more interest. And here is a close-up so you can see more of the details that I created, but also about the placement and layers from the ephemera pieces. Right now I will work on a closure for this ephemera holder. I will keep it simple because the surprise is really inside of the holder. So I punched a hole, made 2 circles out of paper, used a brad to attach it, and yeah, just find some pieces of string in your stash and wrap it around. To create just a little bit of more interest in the background, I got out my Tim Holtz stamp set, the Ledger script, and I am using this stamp just partially, the bottom part of the stamp or mostly the top of the stamp, and yeah, just randomly add some script to this envelope. To stamp this script, I have chosen a little bit of a darker brown, so it is the Archival ink ground espresso color. I will fill my last pocket with my pieces of ephemera. This is also a good exercise when you are a beginner in this hobby or maybe are into this hobby for a couple of months. Yeah, it is all about placement and what you would like to see and what you would not like to see. So pay attention to letters and numbers, words and sentences, and yeah, just make sure that some pieces are visible to the eyes. For the ones that are also watching the live stream from Tim Holtz, and you can hear him say quite often, it is all in the details. Well, that is what we are going to work on right now. Details, details, details. My number one go-to for details are the Tim Holtz snippets or just little pieces of ephemera like this little butterfly. And when we talk about snippets, you can think about the Snippets Pack Curator or numbers. Like this piece, May 15, it is just a nice strip of paper to put on top just behind one larger piece of ephemera so it will stick out and catches your eyes. That also goes for these little labels. You can put them in between layers and just let them stick out a little bit. And on top of the sticking out part, you can add like remnant rubs or stamp on top like a little number or word. Yeah, it is just making and creating more interest in your work. Now keep on adding those details in some clear areas until you are happy with the result. This video is almost to an end. I hope you got some inspiration out of it on making your own ephemera holder. If you like this video, please like, subscribe or comment down below. If you want to check me out on my social platforms or my coffee shop, I will put all my links in the description box. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. Bye.